Ladies and gentlemen, today is November 27th, 2013, the day before Thanksgiving, and today is the KNKL Show number 130. I'm your host, Kienan Lafferty, and today is Thankful Wednesday because we're not going to be having a Thoughtful Thursday tomorrow because I'm going to be stuffing my face with turkey and cranberry sauce and mashed potatoes and gravy and all that good stuff that comes along with Thanksgiving, and as I'm sure you guys are going to be doing the same. So, we're just going to be having Thankful Wednesday, and we have our little turkey mascot here. And today we're going to be talking about something that I actually incurred or experienced today. And that is the good old saying of, there's no use crying over spilled milk. And, as well as, you can't saw sawdust. And we're going to go into both of those, one after the other, in order. So let's go ahead and start with don't cry over spilled milk. What does that mean? You hear it all the time. But what does that mean? How can it enrich your life by knowing about this milk and why you shouldn't cry over it? And let's see. I'm probably just going to go ahead and take that off now. But the way that I experienced this today was in a couple of ways. The last few days, I've just been noticing my sleep schedule has always been a challenge for me. My sleep schedule has always been something that I fail pretty terribly at. Like if I allow myself to just drift and go off course, I'll naturally just become a person who sleeps in until, noon, 1 o'clock, all that stuff. I've been pretty good over the last few weeks, but I'm noticing I'm starting to drift a little bit back into it. So needless to say, today I woke up at about 11:30, close to noon. And even though I've had these days where I wake up late and I still get a lot of stuff done, today was just a little bit weird. Like I got a lot of stuff done. Like I took a look at my little checklist in my journal here, and I was like, okay, well here's what I have to do. I have to do these things. I said I was going to do these weeks. So this week. Let's just go ahead and get those out of the way before Thanksgiving. And I did. And I got everything done up to the point where I had to work on the comic. And here's something that's very interesting that comes up with me when I'm ready to work on Emma. And I think it's a feeling that's never really going to go away. And this is the feeling of distracting yourself. You begin to look for anything to just like pull your attention away from the thing that you want to work on most, which is really strange. Even though the reason why it bothers me so much is because I've already made. It's not like I'm just starting this comic. I've been doing this for a year. And I still feel the inadequacies and the self-doubt that was there even during the beginning, if not now, more than ever. So I very quickly seek to distract myself with things. I'll be like, oh, well, I need to take care of the laundry, or oh, hey, maybe I'll go play Grand Theft Auto because my little brother, like nobody's here, and the game console's open, the PlayStation 3 is open. I've been wanting to play that game for a little while now, make my little online character, get all leveled up, get some cash and all that stuff. And so that's basically what happened today. I worked on the comic at the beginning, and I got the basics of the entire next page laid out. But it's in very rough sketches. So I was like, all right, that's good. That's good enough, right? We took care of that. We're good to go. Like that's enough work for one day. It's time to take a nice 6-hour-long break and let's play games all day, which is exactly what I did. But regardless, obviously, I probably stopped playing literally like 45 minutes before the show started, and I just caught myself feeling super disappointed with myself, super like angry. And here's the point. I felt disappointed and angry with myself, but then I continued to just kind of drive myself into the ground, and I was like, why would this happen? How could I do this? It's like I've already set a date for the next page that's going to come out, and like I'm falling behind because I played games all day. And I felt like such a loser and such an idiot, and I felt like that for probably the last 45 minutes, like I said. And I think that what I want to talk to you guys about today is this saying of don't cry over spilled milk. Is when there's, I think it kind of goes two ways. One is, obviously today was a situation that I could have controlled, right? I chose to slack off and play games all day. But I think also that even when you do something that is your own fault, it's only worth, being angry with yourself for so long. You just have to accept that you made a mistake, and then The most important part is say, what's next? What am I going to do about this next? Because just sitting here sulking about it, throwing a pity party, oh, poor me, oh, what's wrong with me? I'm such an idiot. You know, that's not going to really get you anywhere. So, and I knew that I was going to have this mentality going into today's talk of like, oh man, I feel like such, I'm so down today because I made a mistake. I made a mistake. And, you know, so I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to give a talk on this today, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best to literally just stand, literally, like 1 minute before the show started, I stood off camera, or not that it mattered because the thing was up anyway, you couldn't see me, but I stood off camera, and I just stood there, and I almost like, I commanded my mind. I commanded my whole self to just be like, okay, what's happened today does not matter. It's behind me now. It's like, I know that I made a mistake, and it's time to, you know, jump back on and get back to this comic, right? This commitment that I made to myself. But also, I'm not going to allow, you know, my inadequacies or my disappointment in myself to affect the talk that I'm about to give to you guys. Because I don't want it to. You guys deserve to have me speaking to you with my highest energy, like I usually do. And so I commanded myself, it's like, this is done, this is gone, this is spilt milk, it's down the drain. There's nothing I can do to get back. In this case, the spilt milk is time. The time all went down the drain. All that time I could have put into the comic and started getting ahead or getting the next page ready, okay? But that was gone. There's nothing I can do about it. So, so yeah, I think it's a good point to just get past things when you've done them, right? When you know you've made a mistake, there's only so much time that you should spend going past it and saying you've messed up and then beating yourself into the ground even further. But then an even more important thing to do is when things happen that are out of your control, right? Like this could be something as far as, I don't know, maybe like a car accident, I don't know, or somebody like clips some guy on a bike like clips the side of your car and you don't even know who it is, but it's got like this big scratch along the thing, right? Or you've been working on a piece, masterpiece in Photoshop, and then your computer decides to crash and the file gets corrupted and it's all gone, right? When things like that happen that are like completely out of your control, then it's even more important that you don't dwell on it. It's even more important that you don't sit around and try to throw a pity party with yourself, because it's like there's nothing that you can do to get that thing back. There's nothing that you can do. Sometimes in Photoshop, there's like, you know, I looked up on Google how to like retrieve corrupted files, and I was able to get like an older version. So there's always alternatives. But here's the thing. If there is any hope for you getting back or retrieving something that you've lost or something that is damaged, or, you know, just like losing something, then I really believe that you can't be in the mentality to get back anything if you are in this state of, oh, poor me, why does this always happen to me? Why do I deserve this? None of this crap. You gotta let all that stuff go and be like, okay, this is what's happened. Is there anything that I can do to lessen the damage of what's happened? Whether it's a loss of, you know, a file, an important file that you've been working on, or it's damage to some sort of property, or, you know, just something that somebody else did. Is there anything that I can do about that? And once you just like let it go, it allows you to take on that mentality, and then you can basically figure things out and make things so much better. So yeah, that's basically what I want to talk about today. And this goes into the second saying, which is sawing sawdust. I think that, you know, if you ask people, how many people have you ever, or how many people have ever sawed a piece of wood, right? Most everybody here has used a saw, or whether it's a power saw or a good old-fashioned hand saw, to saw a piece of wood. But then how many people have ever sawed sawdust, right? All the little bits that are sitting on the ground, you pick that stuff up, you like set it on the table, you try to saw that. That's basically what you're doing too. When something is done, when a job is done or something has been done, you can't like pick it back up and like try to mess around with it. Like there's nothing else that's going to come out of that sawdust. There's nothing else that's going to come out of that milk down the drain. There's nothing that's going to come out of that waste of time, right? That waste of time that you would have, you know, otherwise maybe should have spent somewhere else. But then here's the other thing. This is the other interesting thing, is that I believe no matter what you do, no matter what, even if you do something that you would consider a mistake or a wrong decision, I always believe that when you take on this mentality of, okay, I'm not going to dwell on this, instead I'm going to figure out what my next move is, you'll notice that you will actually come up with a new plan of action, or where you go next, not only much easier, but it's really interesting. It's almost like there's a chance for something that was there. You know, it's basically like a learning experience. There's a chance for you to learn something and take on something and become something greater because of, you know, say a waste of a day. Waste of a day. Like, and here's the other thing that's really interesting to me. And this is by no means, I mean, me saying, oh, hey, well, look how great I am. But I remember back in the days, like, when I would just play World of Warcraft all day. I would play World of Warcraft every single day of the week. I mean, this was right after I got out of high school, so I was super excited. I was like, I'm done with school. Nobody's telling me what to do. I don't got no homework. I don't got no sleep schedule. It's time to stay up till 6 a.m. playing World of Warcraft every day, and then sleep until 1, wake up, keep playing World of Warcraft, and just continue this for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I look back on that type of lifestyle, and again, I'm not saying that anybody who plays World of Warcraft and enjoys it, that's okay. You know, if you like that, that's awesome. But for someone like me who's creating something, who wants to make a business, who wants to make a comic, I can't have that type of lifestyle. I'm not saying it's the wrong lifestyle, it's just the wrong one for me. You might enjoy it, again, that's my opinion. But, however, now that I've realized how important it is for me to stay on track and use my time wisely, it's very interesting to look at when I sort of waste a day or waste my time doing something that I know I maybe shouldn't have done. I like the fact that it bothers me so much. I like the fact that I've gotten into such a habit of like setting down a plan and just making things work to the point where I just don't let days go by anymore. And if one does just manage to slip through, it just really feels like something went wrong. Something needs to change. We need to get back on track. Okay? So, yeah, I'm saying that because I want you guys to understand the power of habit. The power of habit. And how hard it can be to change bad habits. But also, you know, when you develop good habits, how hard it is to change out of good habits. I think we're just habitual beings. So you might as well use that to your advantage. Use that to your advantage and build these positive habits every day. And you're never going to get to the point of where you're like, oh, well, all I have is good habits. Oh, wow, I just won the game of life. I just won. I just designed the best life ever. Or just, I designed myself as the greatest person ever who just uses his time perfectly, who uses his days awesomely, and just gets the perfect amount of sleep, has the perfect diet, has the perfect friends, the perfect job, perfect amount of money. You just can't do that. It's like, it's a constant battle. And I think that's what life is meant to be. It's this constant like upkeep. You never run out of problems. And I think that is, that's another thing that I really want you guys to understand is that, you know, like a lot of people say that, oh, when I get this car, you know, I won't have any more problems. Oh, when I get this girlfriend, I won't have any more problems. I've been in this boat. I've said these things to myself. Oh, when I finally get this much money, I won't have any more problems. But then you get there, and then your problems, like, the problems aren't dependent on what you get. The problems are dependent on who you are. It's really interesting. No matter what a person gets, it seems like if they had problems before they get that amount of money or before they get those friends, they'll just create new ones. They'll create new problems just because of the person that they are, because of the habits that they have, and just because of all these things. So I really think that if you want to start to, and again, this has just been my experience, so I'm kind of throwing this idea out there. I'm not saying this is how it is, but this is kind of some of the ideas. I really like to share my ideas with you guys. I really feel like, again, my life has become very simple because I've realized that my problems don't come from the outside. My problems almost just, they're made by myself. You know, what you perceive as problems, even if you want to call it that. Maybe that's why I feel like my life has become simple, because now I look at problems in a different light. I look at them as, you know, it's like, what a blessing it is to have almost this fire lit under my butt, right? Because of, you know, financial insecurity, right? It's like, if I had, you know, if I had already made $1 million off of this and I had a, you know, multi-million-dollar empire built off of KNKL comics, I'd be like, what's the rush? We don't need to make the next page. It's no big deal, right? But when I'm here, I'm literally trying to build this thing myself, and I'm working as a freelance artist. I got this drive, man. I got this hunger. And I think it was, what story was it? I think it's in The Alchemist, where they talk about when when a man is hungry, he becomes absolutely focused. He becomes so focused on whatever task lays at hand when he's hungry. And that's the thing. It can be financial, it can be food, whatever. You know, but I really like that. So instead of looking at your problems as, oh, poor me, you got to really look at, okay, well, what does this actually do to me? What does this so-called problem do for me that's good? It keeps me on my toes. It keeps me focused. It keeps me hungry. It keeps me wanting more for myself. It keeps me wanting to build more things for myself. It's not just handed to me on a silver platter and be like, oh, hey, you're such a good person. You get all of these things, right? And you have to work for them. You know, it's like when you earn things, that's when you really, truly treasure them. And I'm not just talking about things as in material possessions. I think the greatest thing to work for and to build is going to be yourself, your mind, your body, you know, all of those things. I really think that, you know, the secret really to that, and I think that, I forget who said this. I think it was Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins really put this really well when he said that, you know, all the things, people can take away all of the things, all the money from you, but who you become, nobody can ever take away from you. The way that you perceive life, the way that you're thankful for things, the way that you love people, the way that you have passion within you, nobody else can take that away. Nobody can ever take that from you. So those are the real treasures and the things that you want to be looking for in life. All right. So the last thing that I want to talk about today, guys, is since we're on Thankful Wednesday, I do want to, in the meantime, since we've been going for about 20 minutes, I'm going to ask you guys to put up any questions that you have over here, as well as I'm going to pull up the Q&A log from things that I did not answer a couple days ago. But I do want to, actually maybe I should just end, yeah, I'll end with my thank yous. I'll end with my thank yous. That'll be nice. How nice that will be. Okay, I got a really good question a few days ago from Sir Knight 500, and he's actually in the chat today. Hello, Sir Knight. I'm going to answer your question. You asked, how do you go about figuring out your personal values? This is an awesome question because values didn't even mean anything to me like a couple months ago. I didn't even know that they necessarily existed. I kind of maybe had like a general idea that they were there, but once I figured out what values were, that values are basically the thing that if you have a goal for yourself or you have a dream and then you get it and it doesn't satisfy your values, like your core values, your most important values, it will give you this feeling of, is this it? Is this what I worked my entire life to get? This life, this job, this, you know, basically the same thing every day? You know, it leaves you with a very hollow victory. And values basically comes down to, I could list all kinds of them, but I'll tell you some of my core values. My core values are freedom, just the ability to do what I want to do, to be able to do what I say I'm going to do. The freedom to express myself creatively, to try things, to maybe make mistakes. I really believe that I'm the kind of person that if everybody's doing something over there, I will literally just do the opposite, just to spite them, just to see what happens. And oftentimes, you know, sometimes it doesn't work out that well. You know, it's like, oh, okay, well, that's why everybody's doing that. But then other times, it works out really well. Sometimes it works out so well, it's like, how has nobody ever done this before? How can nobody see this? You know? So, you know, freedom is one. I actually have my values written down here. In fact, let me see if I can find them really quick for you guys. Because, these things, yeah. There's also other values such as, you know, fame, respect. You know, things that rely on other people to give you, such as fame, respect, you know, all that stuff. You want to be careful not to make those your main values. Where the heck are they? I have no idea where these things are. I do apologize, guys. But there's a really good book that I read that went over values. It's called Super Self. If you guys want to go check that book out, it's really good. He talks a lot about values in there, and I think that his name's Charles J. Gibbons. Charles Gibbons wrote the book, and the way that he lays out values and basically describes them is just so well done that I don't even think that I could do a better job. So definitely you guys should check that book out. You might be able to just YouTube it. Just YouTube Super Self by Charles Gibbons, and they probably have it on tape for you guys. Super Self. All right, I'm going to take on a couple more questions, and then I'm going to end. Um, Cherry Nip is asking, will I ever talk about relationships? No, I am really not. I am not in any position to give advice on relationships because my relationships have never been good. My relationships have never been good. Well, I mean, they've been good, but, obviously, like mine, they're kind of like few and far between. And I've come up with a couple of solutions or just like reasons why this could be. A, I'm really ugly, right? A, I look like this to girls. I look like this right over here. Or B is, I'm a very like, I don't know, like I'd like to think that I might be a very unique person. Special. My mommy said I was special, right? So I'm a very unique person. So because of that, I'm looking for a very unique type of woman. And I think that, unique, someone that just gels with you, that has the same outlook on life, that has passion, that has dreams, that goes for what they want, and doesn't feel like they're a victim to the outside world. Those kinds of people, unfortunately, are very rare to find. Those kinds of people are very rare to find. And so, and even that, it's like, sometimes I don't even know what I want. So, in terms of that, I don't know if I'd really be a good person to give advice on relationships, but I can tell you some funny stories about some of my past relationships sometime. All right, last question. Someone 0956 is asking, what is self-actualizing to you? Oh shoot, I shouldn't have read that because I don't know exactly what that means. What is self-actualizing to you? Sorry, someone. I don't know. I don't understand. I'm stupid. I don't understand how you worded that question. Last question coming in from Krusty Pon Pon. When you are not motivated to work at all, do you have some good tips that help you find motivation? It's coming in from Krusty Pon Pon. Yeah, I mean, this is something that, again, I went through today. And it's not so much lack of motivation. It's like I have the motivation, obviously, to make this comic, but what I've noticed is when I sit down to finally do it, so much of the subconscious insecurity is sitting in the back of my head that I just become super distracted. I become super distracted. It's like, oh, well, look, I still have all these things to finish. I still have to finish reading this book. I still have to, work on the Emma Christmas card. Anything to just like pull me away from it. Oh, I gotta go play video games. It's so bad. But I think really what helps me stay on track is all right. I think what's really important is that you guys are typing in all caps in chat, so it stole my attention. See, easily distracted. Easily distracted. I'm very easily distracted when I am feeling insecure about myself. So, but again, much like they say, admitting it is the first step to solving it. So I think it's very important to first understand that there is a problem. There is a problem, and that is I get really easily distracted when I am sitting down to do this thing. Lack of motivation, you might say. And then what you need to do is, I want to say something better than just force yourself to do it, because that's what anybody would say. I think a really good thing to do is just, in wrapping up everything that we talked about today, whenever you feel that there's a lack of motivation, you distract yourself, you go off, you waste a bunch of time, and then you get pissed off at yourself, realize that that time is gone. That time is gone. You may have made a mistake, and now it's time to just face it. Face the consequences. Look it straight in the eye. Look it straight in the eye and say, you know what? I made a huge mistake. And I'm going to get back to this. I'm going to get back to this. I'm going to understand that this is something that I will battle with the rest of my life. This feeling of the lack of motivation, this feeling of getting distracted, it's never going to go away. And that's not a big deal, because you know what? It's just like weight training, or whatever you want to call it. As you gain strength, right? You're able to push, right? You're able to push more weight. And as you push weight, you will push motivation, and you will push away distraction. And it's just a way of building yourself bigger and stronger mentally, physically, comic book artistry thing. And all that good stuff. So I hope that helps you out. All right, guys. So I do want to take the last little bit of time to say my thank yous, because it is, in fact, Thankful Wednesday. So, yeah, this is, as we go into Thanksgiving tomorrow, as we go and eat turkey and hang out with our family, some of which we may want to see actually, and some of which we may want to avoid, wear a mask when we see them. But regardless, I really think that now is a good time for me to say thank you. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the KNKL show. Thank you so much for those of you who have been watching since the beginning, and for those of you who may be tuning in for the first time today. Like, your participation in this, in the show, in the comic, and just everything that you do, posting your work to the Facebook, saying that I've helped you or I've inspired you or helped you out with running my mouth on these Thoughtful Thursdays, Thoughtful Wednesdays, it really means a lot. It really does. And it's something that I don't take lightly. And it really means a lot. It's something that I can't really describe how special it is. And sometimes I feel like I don't necessarily deserve it because all I wanted to do was just start the show so that way I could improve my public speaking and get better at not being so shy, because I used to be very shy. But yeah, as we go into Thanksgiving tomorrow, I think it's very important that, you know, we just realize that we have a lot of stuff to just really be thankful for. And there's a lot of things around us, regardless of how much we say that we want things to make us happy, regardless of how much we're reaching for these goals and say, oh, once we get this, then we'll be good. You have to realize, like, where you are right now is actually the best place that you could ever be. And there's a lot of things that you could look around and just have so much love and gratefulness for. Like, I don't even know how to say it, but it's just like being alive, I think, is one of the greatest things to be thankful for. Having a mind and being able to be creative and express yourself as an artist or as a singer, as a musician, or whatever you are out there. I think that that's something that, again, nobody can ever take away from you. And those are the things that I really want you guys to be thankful for. Those are the things that I'm thankful for. And with that, we're going to go ahead and end KNKL Show, episode 130. Thank you guys for joining me. Thoughtful Wednesday. Thank you for joining my turkey face over here. You guys have a great evening. Have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow. I'll see you guys next week when we release the new Emma page. Till then, you guys take care. See ya.